hello. It's comment, answers, replies, something, whatever. Number 2. First off, alright, some observations on replying to comments this way. There were some very, very good comments made regarding it, and I'll get to some of them later. But a couple that were very relevant and I want to answer first. Music Maniac 1965 made a very good observation in that in answering comments using text, the people I'm replying to get an alert or something in their inbox, in their email, to say that I've replied to them, and they can go straight to that comment and see what I've said. Where doing this, you've got to watch the whole video to see if I've replied to your comment, and I might not have, and if you're just waiting to see if I've replied to your comment, you've wasted 50 minutes or an hour or however long. Very, very good point. What I'm going to do is put a list on the screen. I thought about using annotations, I thought about putting links down there. I know it's possible to link to a certain point in time on the video. I don't actually know how to do that and the time it would take. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in text at the start of each video, and whether it'll be down the side or all over, I don't know. It depends how many I answer. But I will at the very least list everyone whose comment I replied to. I may possibly, if I can work it out, put at what point in the video I replied to their comment. That would be the ideal. I'm going to try and do that. I will at the very least name everyone whose comment I replied to. So if you're only here to see if I answered your comment, you'll know right at the start, and that will help a little bit. You'll still have to come to the video to find out, but it's better than sitting waiting through a whole video just to find out. Yeah, it was also observed that this may be more time consuming than replying by text. Yeah, what I need to do, that I found that I was doing last time, was replying to the same comments, like multiple people left the same comment, and I was answering the same things over and over and over, and that took a lot of time. The video could have been a lot shorter. So what I'm going to do is, if I find I'll answer a question or comment or something, and if other people later on make the same comment, well, it's already answered. Kinda not then replying. Well, maybe I can add their name in the thing as well if they've made the same comment. I don't know, because I am going through them. I won't necessarily have read all the comments before I come and answer them. I'll see how that works anyway, but I'm not going to keep answering the same things over and over because it is pointless. Wastes your time and mine. Yeah. I'm still, other than that, tweaking it. So let's see. On what video are we starting on? We're starting on the retro computer books and manuals. Okay, in reference to I showed that VIC-20 box with the manual and the little plastic thing. Comment from David Jones. I bet countless people have told you that's David Bowie's name. I love David Bowie. I bet you're not him, are you? The template is for drawing Jackson structured programming diagrams. Ironic really, since Vic Basic had only very poor facilities, structured programming facilities. In my opinion, BBC Basic was far and away the best in this respect. Yeah, BBC Basic is very widely regarded to be the best basic on an 8-bit computer. That's actually interesting to know. I know I saw in the manual there were diagrams with diamonds and circles or triangles or all kinds of crap. Yeah, it didn't occur to me that that's what that little stencil thing was for. So thank you for that, because that was puzzling me. tribalmasters. I'm looking forward to getting a book for my Raspberry Pi. I did respond to this in text, but I'm going to say it here because not everyone may have seen it. There is a book, an official book by the people who made the Pi, by, what's his name, what's his name thingy. You can buy it in hard copy, but you can also buy it for the Kindle. I did that because I wanted it in a hurry, and I got the Kindle app on my iPhone, and it's worth getting. It answered a lot of my questions, enabled me to actually do stuff. I wouldn't say is it an essential buy? If you don't know what you're doing, it's an essential buy. From CoolDudeClem. I remember getting books from the library with various projects that could be done on a computer and programs to type in. I used to do that a lot when I had my old Amstrad and Spectrum. Well, when I had my Electron, I used to go to the library and get books, and I found there were a lot of books that were like a generic learn how to use your computer, that never focused on a specific computer, and there would be basic commands that I don't know what flavour of basic they were, but they tended not to work on my Electron. I don't know if it was Microsoft Basic or Commodore. What did they use? Microsoft Basic on the Commodore 64? I'm not sure. They certainly used it on something. Yeah, I tried a lot of books from that era and found the ones that weren't specific to a given computer were fairly... They were jumping on a bandwagon to make a buck, it seemed to me. The EEPROM 9. My brother also wears socks with sandals, because yeah, you could see I'd got a pair of Birkenstocks on and a pair of Spider-Man Birkenstock sandals and Spider-Man socks on in a previous video. I do. It's shocking. I mean, I know how completely untrendy it is to wear socks with sandals, but I find wearing sandals without socks, they chafe. And I like wearing sandals indoors because they're like slippers, especially Birkenstocks. Love them. They're great. I don't go out in them. But, yes. Madcapoperator says, fun fact, this is reference to, I mentioned Emmerdale Farm in... well, it must have been this video. I can't remember why. But anyway, madcapoperator says, fun fact, Emmerdale was only popular in the Yorkshire television region and pretty much shunned by the rest of the country. Places like Central and the South East didn't even show it. When I was in Milton Keynes, we got Central and Anglia, and they showed it on there. So maybe it was further south they didn't show it. But I could certainly watch it in Milton Keynes, though I chose not to because it bored the crap out of me. From Namcos? James. I think you're going to kickstart another tag video, namely, show us your bookmarks. Referring to the bookmarks in a book as opposed to the bookmarks on a web browser. Maybe, maybe not. Yeah, there were a variety there in those books, weren't there? I think the most embarrassing was the little piece of wire. From gaargh. That sounds... Is that the Klingon wormy meal thing? Damn, $8.95 for games. Those were the days, although I do realise the budget for games were a lot less then. Yeah, they were. $8.95 actually back... Actually, I'm not sure which... Was that on that big Spectrum pull-out posterish size thing? $8.95 back then would have been quite expensive for a game, actually. Quite a lot were significantly cheaper, like $2.99 or $1.99. Obviously they were budget games, the really cheap ones. Also from gaargh. Type-ins. You take 20 hours to type them in, and A, they don't work, or B, they do work and they're rubbish, but hey, at least they only cost you the price of Crash or Zap64. Yeah, I tried quite a few type-ins back then, and very, very few of them worked, and the ones that did really were rubbish. The one that comes to mind is City Bomber on the ZX81. I programmed that. It was in 1K, and yeah, you had the plane going along, and you dropped the bombs on the city, and as the bombs went down, they demolished the skyscrapers. But as my plane got lower, I hadn't flattened all the skyscrapers, and the plane ploughed into them and went right through them, and didn't crash or blow up or die. And I could just forget about bombing, and the plane would just keep on going until it got to the bottom, and then it ended. So yeah, that was crap. ZX81 user guide was king of the guides. This is from gaargh. You're getting a good look in here. ZX81 user guide was king of the guides. Spent many an hour pondering over it, then peeking and poking all over the place. Yeah, fantastic manual. I never actually did the peeking and poking, and there will be many people who wonder what the hell is he talking about. Peek was a command that would allow you to look at the value of a specific memory address or register or something or other, and poke would allow you to put a value into a specific memory address, which let you do stuff. But me not being a programmer and being absolutely crap at that kind of thing, had no idea how to do that, or what it did, or what you could achieve. It was like some, I don't know, black art. I never understood how to do it. But yeah, peeking and poking was like a pastime in itself for those who knew how to do it. From JomJom1207, would be nice if you could review some tie-pins. Yeah, it's a question of having the time, because it does take a lot of time to do that. I like the idea. If I had more time, I would do it. One day I may, but for the time being, it's not feasible. Flackon. Basic may be a fun and easy introduction to programming, but don't bother with the other ancient programming languages like Forth or Fortran. If you want to keep learning something useful after Basic or Pascal, learn C, and then some object-oriented language like Java. Well, I'm probably going to look into Forth, just because I've got two computers that use it. One I was given by a good friend, which it's the Fignition, which uses Forth, and I'd like to do something with it. So I will look into that, though it will probably just amount to me typing in tie-pins. I probably won't ever look further into programming than that, doing advanced stuff using C or Java. I mean, Java would be useful for web design, but I've reached a point, I've reached a certain age now, I learn a little bit more slowly, and I was never good at learning programming anyway. So though Java would be useful, I ain't got the time, it would take me too long, and I would still be crap at it. Oh, of course, there's how I came to be talking about Emmerdale Farm. It was in reference to Amos. Yeah. From TeamRocketReviews. I find old magazines historically fascinating. Whenever I get a retro computer, I get all sorts of manuals with them, and they're really, really rather like time capsules. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I've got a load of old Amiga magazines here, and they're brilliant. I really wish I'd kept all the magazines I bought back in the day. I threw them out when I moved from Milton Keynes to Worksop, and I really wish I hadn't. But they took up so much space. I had hundreds and nowhere to put them. But yeah, it's the adverts and the prices. I remember when 32 megs of RAM cost 900 quid, and I was in a job at that time where I could have afforded that, and I was really thinking about doing it. I didn't in the end. I waited until it got cheaper, and now, God, 32 megs, 900 quid would buy an immense amount of RAM now, more than most computers could accommodate, I think. Gollumondrugs says, most in-depth stuff is online these days. It does actually make sense in a number of ways to do that. However, I do prefer a big book to look at, and used to love the huge manuals that come with early home computers. I agree. I dislike that you can go out and buy a computer, get it home, or have it delivered, and have no idea how to use it. It used to be, when you bought a computer, you had a manual that told you how to use it. You were paying for this item, and it was a project, if you like, if you were new to computing. And it was like, here's your item, here's how to use it. Now, you spend all that money on that computer, but there's nothing to tell you how to use it. And I can imagine people who aren't familiar with computing will find it incredibly daunting, because there you are, you've spent all that money, and then you've got to go and spend a whole load more to buy a manual, or spend time hunting the internet to find the information that you need just to use it. Never mind do anything useful, maybe just to understand what it is you're looking at on the screen. I find that a big backward step, but that's the market today, isn't it? It's more money grabbing, useful information sold separately. From TeamRocketReviews, documentation used to be so much more high quality. Nowadays you only get cheap black and white prints. Not necessarily true. Some of those manuals were really good, the ones that you bought, and some of the ones that actually came with the computers were good as well. But some of them were awful, really, really. Nowadays you just don't get any documentation at all. So yeah, there's some truth in what you say. From Polaventris, love the art style of the old 80s manuals. Yeah, I completely agree. Especially the Sinclair ones. They looked like sci-fi movie scenes, on the covers at least, and very, very clear inside, especially that ZX81 manual. It was so... the design of it was perfect. I don't think it could have got much better. From lactobacillusprime, MarkTheMorose. A dead chicken? Do I detect a dead chicken on your shelving? Yes, you do. Let me get it. You may remember this from my Benway's World intros a while ago. Yeah. That's my chicken. And that was my I've got this thing as well, wasn't it? From Labruskie. Has anyone made an app that scans old pages of basic type-ins and sends them to the correct emulator for running and saving? It'll cut out quite a lot of typing. That's interesting. I don't know about that, but I'll tell you what would be feasible. Using a scanner to scan the page, assuming the print quality is good enough in the first place, scan it in and then use some, what do they call it, OCR software that will convert the text in a graphic file into text in a text file. And you could then cut and paste that into an emulator and save it as a file. That might work, though you do have problems that some of this OCR software is not too accurate, and if the original text is not that clear, you'll have mistakes. And if you've ever typed in a type-in, you'll know that any kind of mistake, just one tiny little mistake, will stop your program from working. So theoretically, very, very viable, possible, something like that. But I reckon in practical terms, it would be problematic. But it'd be interesting to see if anyone has ever tried that. From Banshun. I do believe this video is imbued with a certain amount of awesomeness. Thank you, you. It made me smile. From paulspydar. Wow, now that is a lot of manuals and bump. I don't know how rare these era manuals are, but still, I would imagine that with everything being digital these days, that an original examples collection would be quite a resource for the future, if not already. Do you know what? I don't actually know. You definitely do see ZX81 and Spectrum manuals coming up on their own on eBay. I don't think they sell for a lot, but some of the rarer ones, I mean, I imagine the ZX80 and the Jupiter Ace and the Enterprise manuals are maybe a bit scarce, but I don't really know. It could be at some point that the manuals may wind up being worth more than the computer, or at least become rarer than. Interesting. I don't know, but it's possible. From, how do you pronounce that? Aeduo? Maybe. I'm going to pronounce it like that. While I imagine that Amiga 3D modelling package is complicated, it probably doesn't have anything on Blender for complexity. Although Blender, I imagine, would have a more friendly interface, just because modern computers and interface designs would offer something a bit easier to use. You still can't use it without some kind of manual though. I don't know. I've never used Blender, but I do know that Imagine 3D is crushingly complicated. Some of the concepts and ways of doing things is kind of illogical. It's totally unintuitive. It goes... There are just levels within levels within levels of ways of doing things. And it's not just a typical rendering thing. It's ray tracing, which in itself is more complicated. And then you've got animation in there as well. It's got a whole physics engine in it of sorts. I've never tried Blender, but I know Imagine 3D is truly crushing. It took me 3 years to learn how to use it barely competently, and it took me 6 months of not using it and I'd forgotten a lot. From MarkTheMorose. If you don't want to actually sit and type from the type-in books, many of the Commodore 64 games are probably available from gb64.com. I noticed they also have many of the magazines of the day, such as Your Computer. Use the advanced search for publisher and type in, for example, Grenada, Sunshine, or Argus, the plastic thing in the big programming course box was for drawing flowcharts. Never thought I'd see Enterprise ZX80 and Jupiter Ace manuals. Thanks. Typed from the British environment. I chuckled when I read that. Yeah, it's actually probably quite viable for me to download some of those files, and because I've got that SD card based virtual disk drive on my Commodore 64, so I might go along there and have a look and see what I can find. Could be interesting. Thanks for the tip. Okay, moving on to alright, as a rule, I'm not going to be answering comments that have been left in my answering comments videos, because then I'll just go round and round and round in circles. But I'm going to have a quick look and see if there's anything that I really should address. GameplayJenny says, will you respond to this comment, Steve? Will you? Will you? Yeah. There. Did that qualify as a response? Okay, from Simo 93521. Where's that? Isimo 93521. Something like that. Hey Steve, what do you think of Elite Dangerous on Kickstarter? I am not sure. I like the idea of a modern, up-to-date Elite. The fact that he's asking for £1 million to develop it makes me... I don't know. How big a team has he got? Is this a one-man project? If it is, £1 million, by God, it seems to me you make your money after you've made the game, not before. Now I know there are expenses to cover, but if it's a big team, fair enough. If this is a one-man project, that just strikes me as greedy. Yeah, I mean, I know he's got to support himself, but £1 million, I don't know. I don't know the details, but when I hear that kind of figure being bandied about, I think, whoa, hold on a minute. From tribalmasters, please tell me how much you love the Game Boy Advance. Quite a lot. As previously been said. From pappachook, as previously, or has been said, the beard is coming along nicely. It's bloody terrible. I still haven't trimmed it since whatever day it was. It's getting really bad. Okay, from Carl Attrill. Hi Steve, keep up the good work. Do you think that YouTube transferring to Google Plus IDs cuts down on trolley comments, as in trolling, not trolleys being pushed along at the supermarket? Do I think it cuts down on them? I think a dedicated troll will not be remotely phased by that. You can make fake Google Plus accounts, loads of them. No, I think the whole using Google Plus IDs is pointless. It's a waste of time. They're trying to... I think them giving that as a reason is bullshit. I think it will have no effect whatsoever on trolls. It won't prevent them. That's not why they're doing it. That's just why they say they're doing it. They're doing it because they want us all to use Google+. They've spent a lot of time and money developing that social network, and no one's using it, mainly because it's shite. And because no one's using it, they're you know, the money, they've wasted all that time and money, so they're like, okay, we'll just force them all. No, it's bollocks. From gabbogabbo. I had to think about this idea for a minute, only because it would seem like this method of answering comments would actually take up more of your time with editing and so on. But I realised that the comments that you do answer, you were able to expand and elaborate on quite a bit more than just a quick response to a comment. It still seems a bit time consuming, but the responses are of a much higher quality and well worth the time put in. Great exercise and look forward to more. Thank you. Yes, you're right. Is it more time consuming? I'm not sure. It probably is a little bit more time consuming, but on the other hand, like you say, I do manage to give a much better answer to the comments that I do answer. I'm able to go into the depth and actually say what it is I want to say, where with like 500 or whatever characters, quite often I can't make the point clearly. We're doing this, I absolutely can. And also, I get to put up a video. you know, it's two birds with one stone, because I would like to put up as much content as I possibly can. So I'm still putting up the gameplays and whatever, but here's this, I'm killing two birds with one stone. It takes a bit of editing. It's going to take a bit of work to get all the names and times and whatnot at the start, so people can jump to where I've replied to them if I have. But I think it's worth it. I'll see if people keep watching them, I guess. PSI236. I laughed when you read my comment. I forgot I typed it. But you know, I only mean half of the stuff I write half of the time. It's just me growing a beard so you can see what it looks like. I laughed when I read that. PSI236 again. This was a bit like your blog TV thing a while ago. I can get faster internet here now, so I was thinking of doing my own gaming live stream if I got the motivation. It would be alright. It could be alright. Check if you can get it. It's not fibre optic, it's faster copper wire. More expensive, but you'll use it. Yeah, I don't know if we've got the faster copper wire here. They're rolling out fibre optic around this town. They've got it in the rough part of town. There is a rough bit around here, and they've got it. We're on the nicer bit here, and we haven't got it yet. I don't know about the copper wire thing. Haven't got a clue. But as for being like my blog TV thing, yeah, it is. It's actually really similar, because the only difference between doing this and doing that is I get time to edit this before it's uploaded. Doing the blog TV thing, it was entirely real time. Oh, and of course, yeah, well, blog TV, it didn't get saved. But it's like when I did the live stream on YouTube. I was just reading comments, but they came in real time, and then it was just posted by YouTube, so it wasn't edited. Here, I do at least get the chance to edit it, if to cut out all the dead space, if you like, while I'm reading, and in case I say something stupid, which I am inclined to do. Okay, I'm going to pronounce that, Starxxon. Here's another idea. You could do Q&A videos where you answer selected questions or comments made on the previous Q&A video. It will be much easier to manage on your side and would still provide the same lively interactivity with viewers. Now that I think on it, didn't you already made some Q&A videos a while ago? Yes, I did. I did. When I hit 700 subscribers, I did a massive one. There were originally 12. There are now 11 videos, like 10-minute videos. Covered masses and masses of questions. There is a playlist of that. And then I did another one later on. Here's the thing. I'm not going to do dedicated Q&A videos. But on these replying to comments videos, it seems like it would be perfectly reasonable for people to just ask questions, and I'll answer them. Yeah, it seems like the ideal place. I mean, on a gameplay video or a Friday talkie, some questions might be off topic, but I think on here, who cares about off topic? If you've got a question, feel free to ask, and I will answer it the next time I do one of these. Saying that, there are boundaries, as someone found out earlier in the last comment replies video that I did. They crossed the line. They asked some questions that were highly inappropriate, and I basically told them, I'm not answering that, you're out of order. You know, there are limits. Deeply personal questions will not get answered. Highly inappropriate questions will get you slapped. I know most of you grasp that. Okay, next. Skyrim Sunday. From Gazmonster. I keep seeing you on my PS3. I've owned this since release, but have never played it. The scale just seems too big, and I've got too much other stuff to play. Watching these videos does make me think that I'm missing out. It is big, and it can initially be daunting, but I find you kind of learn your way around it, and you do have that quick travel thing, where if you've been to a place, if you want to go back there again later, you don't have to walk there. You can just like teleport there, which is good. It does get repetitive, but you can kind of feel the game behind the game, if you like. You can feel the structure of the game, and there is this element of go to a place, find a thing, take it back to where you started, and then get given your next task, which is go to a place, find a thing or a person, do something, and then go. And there's a formula there that becomes kind of obvious. Go somewhere, do a mission, go back. But it hasn't stopped me playing it yet, because if you're a person like me who likes to take the piss out of the in-game characters, there's a lot of fun to be had. And you can kill bunnies and then feel bad about it. From Grumble Dook. You can't catch me. What exactly did you expect would happen when you said that? Well, yeah. It was kind of predictable. I said that and then died. I'm not sure how to pronounce this. I'm going to say pundewhee. Gave me some tips on the gameplay, and then said, replying to myself, yes, I know I watched the reality check vid, and I know Steve Benway doesn't want advice on how he should have played, but since this is part 8, I guess it's not a one-time deal, and I can't help but give tips, because Skyrim is probably my favourite game ever. Yeah, absolutely. Bang on the money there. It is... advice on that game is welcome, though I would say to people, no spoilers. Because I don't know what happens, and I don't want to know what happens. But, you know, if I'm obviously doing something wrong or getting stuck or whatever, yeah, tips on that are absolutely welcome. Because I am still playing it. It's not one of those where I've played it and I'm not going to go back to it. Kevin Twiner says, bunnies done by Benway, to which I said, badly, so you can see what it looks like. AtsumaKarin. While watching this, it occurred to me, you uploaded this video on this game's first anniversary. Yay! I didn't know that. I had no idea. Another great part. In any case, Steve, yes, all three of you. You forgot to level up again after being killed. I did, didn't I? I'll have to check that out when I go back. Yes, save frequently. It'll save you time. Yes, it does. You need that guy's weapon, the one you killed in the Dwemer Ruins, Alain Dufont. What a name for a quest. Okay, what was that? The big, long... Well, I got killed, so I'll be going back there, so I'll grab it. Thank you for the tip. I believe the cogs feature primarily in Radiant quests, or fetch quests to be more specific. I don't like those fetch quests. Go get this, get that, blah, blah, come back here, blah. Yeah, I hope they're side quests and not a main thing. GameplayJenny says, you and I were absolutely definitely separated at birth in some other lifetime. Yeah, I quite agree. I watch your videos and think, I would have said that. Which makes them very entertaining. ElectricAdventures says, looks like it's getting a bit harder, but at least you had some bunny for lunch. Yeah, it was raw. I got indigestion. It is getting harder, though. Oh, in places it's getting harder. It could just be that I'm getting crapper. Calm 3D says, thumbs up for Amiga Workbench. Absolutely, Amiga Workbench rocks. Alright, comments from Maze on TV Boy. If I can load the page, that's not the one I wanted to load. Gamesbloke says, this might get a little confusing here, but I love this. What? But isn't this just a poor conversion of Head On, an arcade game from Sega? I love Head On, and was not fully aware of this version on the 2600 at all, so thanks, as I think this will be what I play next. If you have a Game Boy, of course you do, then do consider playing Head On, or whatever the name is for this territory, for sure, as they have updated it with various traps and clever stuff. A worthy update. Something to complement this game, I think. Yes, you're right, Head On. This is like an Atari take on Sega's Head On. I had to Google it and take a look and see, and you're right, so it will have been the Sega game first. I do think I have a game for the Game Boy Advance, or it might be... No, it's on one of the Xbox compilations I've got, which is some kind of take on Head On, except rather than just going round and round, there is a maze of streets and flags that you grab. Is that the same thing? I'm not sure. Also from GamesBloke, skipping a little bit here. Okay, would love to know one day how you get the white balance lighting so good. My camera makes virtually everything sheet white. Yeah, I should make a video to show how I do it. It's mostly luck and manual controls on the camera. But yeah, one of these days I'll do a video of that. Starblazers 1969 says, "Is this a paddle game?" No, no, it uses a joystick, or in this case a D-pad. I initially thought, how would that work with a paddle, since you control to go left, right, up and down, but no, I can see how you could think that way. But no, it's a joystick D-pad kind of game. From Limekiller 68, "If you press the fire button, doesn't this increase your speed? It makes the game much easier." Do you know what? In all the time that I was playing that, it didn't occur to me to press the fire button and find out. How dumb am I? I will have to try that. I'll have another go at it and see. From AtsumaKarin, "Lol, great video, Steve. Definitely looks like a fun, challenging game. You don't have to make some weird noises. You should release them on a CD or something." You know, I have no idea what kind of noises I was making while playing that. I should probably go back and have a listen. I'll probably cringe. But you're not the only person who said I made weird noises, so I must have. Hindleyak says, The cars move like out of a cartoon. The wheels never steer, yet you power slide into the next lane. I also like that you can sort of dive through walls. Pretty robust, those dodgems. Yeah, the physics are not entirely real world. I like that. Murray EFC 78 also commenting, "Some funny noises made there, Steve. I think that game would frustrate me no end." Yeah, I must go back and listen to the noises. I used to play it in the arcades, and it is hard, and it's kind of not entirely fair, though if the fire button does make you go faster, it's perhaps more fair than I initially thought. Dave Webster says, "Definitely one of those kids these days think they have it hard, but back when I were a lad kind of game." Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. Some modern games might be a bit hard, but you want to try this, and by God. Ogma01 says, "It's a wonderful game with 2 players." Yeah, I imagine it would be. It probably makes more sense as a 2-player game. Not something you can do on the TV Boy, because there isn't another joystick. But on the 2600, yeah, more than likely. Alright, I'm going to wrap this up now and see if I can edit it adequately and see how I can fit everyone's names and times and whatnot and stuff. Right, okay. We'll see how that goes. Thank you for watching.